Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everyone. And I don't have a lot of time today. I've got a train to catch, so I want to try and get in a bunch of stuff, a bit personal and a little bit more about this 4-day free event I am doing, which is actually like a full-on workshop. You'll get so much out of it. It's called Centered. So like the whole concept behind it, rather than it being all like out there and woo woo and like magical work and, working with psychic attacks and distortion and, like the way I usually work, it's going right back to basics and to the foundations, basically of how I managed to pull myself out of really difficult human mess. I was really struggling for a long time. And I'd always been like a straight A student sort of thing. I was like high achiever, perfectionist, work super hard. And I've always done that. And I still do work really hard, but I'm not being a perfectionist, luckily. But there came a point where a lot of my, like we all have core woundings. Being human is not easy, it's complex. And I have my own set. You all have your own sets of difficulties, triggers, core wounding, things that affect you, impact you, things that make you wobble out, lose your center. And I kind of went as far as you possibly could with losing my center and losing myself. And there was lots of reasons behind it, and it took a long time to get to that point. But there came a point where I just, enough is enough. I can't carry on like this. And the bit that really got me was that I knew I could have made something of my life. I got to the point where I wasn't doing anything that I loved, and I didn't feel well. And the life around me that I'd created wasn't healthy. And I knew something wasn't right, but it felt that I'd gone so deep and so far down that maybe it was too late. I actually thought, I fucked this up, and I don't know if I can get out of this. And it was, that moment, and a lot of people talk about it, the enough is enough moment, enough is enough. I can't carry on like this. It's not meant to be like this. And those words are key. It's not meant to be like this. If you find yourself feeling like you're in the wrong movie, or you've messed it all up, or that you're not where you're meant to be, or you're not being true to who you could be. And it's not about, you are perfect as you are and all that stuff. And we're all beautiful humans, but that feeling, if you have it, that something, you're not quite where you want to be, doesn't feel right. And I know that feeling. And this was like, I'm talking about a decade ago. And that moment actually spurred me into kind of deciding I'm going to have to knuckle down on clearing through what is going on here. I started reading into consciousness and energy stuff, and I was probably reading all sorts of rubbish, but there was a few things that really made sense. Is that, the common denominator in a lot of the mess I'd created was myself. It was my thoughts and my emotions and my stress and my reactivity, or also like how I was impacting others. And of course, people were impacting on me, but, I had to take responsibility for some of what happened. And then I realized that if I could work on myself, then life around, like the interactions and the interface I have with the universe, is going to improve. So it set me off on a huge journey. And I've been sitting on a couple of the things I'm going to share for a long time in terms of finding a way of delivering it. And one of the things I did was a full-on life review. And I'm going to be offering that at some point. I'm not even going to say a date because I don't know. It's been that long that I've been waiting to do it. And I'm really looking forward to doing that, because it will be, hopefully a large group of people, epically atoning for, releasing all like the past so they can move forward with a new vibration, a new frequency, and a new interface with the world. But that's not what I want to share. That bit is essential. But the other bit that was essential for me was learning to make new choices about my thoughts. So that comes with witnessing your thoughts, witnessing your emotions and reactions. So it's, even just witnessing yourself rather than being in the fight and in the chaos. You're like, like, oh, wow, look at, oh, wow, look at me do this reaction. Look how stressed I am right now. Look how upset I am. Look how bad that feels. Like, wow, I'm like spiraling somewhere. And so starting to observe myself was like a big part of that change. But the part that's important and that I want to do over this 4-day workshop is like all the little tools and techniques and mind sort of tricks, if you like, that help me rein in, like taming some sort of wild, out of control horse, as an example. If my mind was just galloping around like with no control and I just allowed my thoughts to run in every single direction and scenario and worry in the future and the past, like how did I start reining that in and start being able to be in my body? And the reason why I called this 4-day workshop centered is because, and maybe it's just becoming a grown-up, so I'm sorry to people that have been like this since they were born, but for me to start becoming centered, it means that you're not agitated all the time. It means that you're not spinning out and triggered by other people or what they say to you or criticism. If you're going to be a leader, visible, a solid practitioner and coach for people, being able to not oscillate out of your center is like, it's pretty essential. And I don't like saying it's essential, you have to do this or you won't be a good practitioner, but it really helps to be able to know where your center is, where the neutral spot is, where the 0 point spot is, where you know that you're not like wasting a lot of energy, or that there isn't something that's creeped in that's taking you off balance or that's spinning you out. And I mean, literally, when you're triggered or when you're hurt or when you're thrown off course, you can feel it in your body. Your guts are going, your anxiety, your heart's racing, your thoughts, you can't let go of this thing. That's you not in your center. That's you deeply impacted. And I'm not, people behave badly, people project on people, people attack people. And I've actually had all those experiences recently. So that's not about you taking on the responsibility and blame for other people's bad behavior towards you, but to be able to stay centered. I mean, some people might call it the God self, or being connected, grounded to source and earth, like being in alignment, being in your body. All of these things come with a set of feelings, and they come with a sense of solidity, and it becomes a point of trust in yourself. Like, I can trust myself, even when shit hits the fan, that I can remain pretty solid. Like, I know how to start regulating my thoughts and emotions, or come back to that place in my heart, come back to that place in my gut. And when you are in that place, when you are centered consistently, then you're able to feel your intuition and your gut like way more. It becomes so much easier to see the path around you and be like, wow, okay. And it sounds easy, but it took me quite a long time to rein in from where I was. So I am not judging anyone on any, version of that path. And even like last year, I still was looking over my shoulder, like jumping for absolutely no reason. Like no one is having a thing with me, and I'm going, what's wrong? Something's wrong. What's wrong? And then figuring out like, okay, and then I use my tools. So I still use these tools, but not like I did 10 years ago, where so I always go full throttle for things. So I'm not saying that you have to do it this way, but I decided like, enough is enough. Things have to change. I need to change. And I realized that I was, boundaryless. I was not grounded. I was out of body. My energy field was like a sieve. I could feel everyone's stuff. And I was just dabbling with becoming like an energy healer. I could feel energy, and I knew I was supposed to be doing something with that. And I was kind of practicing with friends, just like trying things out. And then I'd go home and have all of their weirdness and, like triggers and stories. They would all be part of me. And I was like, that is not right. So I had to learn like really learn what's me and what's not me. For example, I had to learn how many of my thoughts were not actually my own. I had to understand like how much energy and words and emotions I'd carried of other people's that were crushing my self-esteem, crushing my sense of self, and making me feel like I didn't know what is good for me or not, because I'm like all this noise around me. So, and I think 10 years down the line, there are moments where I'm like, well, this is a little bit boring. Like my brain is just quiet. And obviously, stuff happens, but I feel like I use my brain like a tool that serves me when I need it. So like, oh, I'm going to be creative, and then I can feel the excitement of my mind connecting with the field and connecting with my knowledge and wisdom, and also interacting with the field outside of my audience of people or ideas that are around me. So it's not all just in me, but around me. And I can feel my brain go connecting and being like, oh, I'm excited. Like I'm like, I've got 20 minutes. I want to make a video. What can I pull out the hat? So obviously I sound like a stream of consciousness, but I'm able to filter out like where the voices are like, hey, you're not prepared enough, you shouldn't do it, anything like putting me down or criticism. I'm able to go like, no, actually, I'm going to do this. I trust myself. And here I am talking to you. But my brain is a tool that I use for creativity and for solving problems. But it took me a while to put my brain in that seat in the vehicle. Before it was like the galloping horse and fighting with things and then running away from stuff. And, it's not useful when your brain is doing that. And then emotions, could take you away and send your body into all sorts of turmoil. And I've learned that, when I am triggered, because we all get triggered by our childhood stuff or whatever. When I get triggered, I know what it feels like now. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, I'm so triggered. That means that my brain isn't going to function in the normal way. My hearing won't work in the normal way. What I'm seeing might be tinged with, the hormones of stress. So it's like being able to pick up all these states and understanding them. And then I have all these practical tools, like if you hold certain points, or if you do certain exercises, or if you do certain movements, they will actually help you come out of a deep trigger, for example, so that you can at least look after yourself or make a new decision about what you need for yourself. So all these tools I'm going to share are, I call them ninja tools, because I used to use them just walking around, and I'm like, okay, I'm now refining the processes of me being a human outside. So I'm walking around and I'm like, okay, there's people coming towards me. This is like 10 years ago. And I'm like, this will normally make me feel highly overwhelmed. And I'm psychic and clairvoyant. So I'm hearing people's thoughts, and I had to learn how to clear that for myself. So it was like, I used the outside world like my practice ground, like learning how to have a boundary, like an energetic architecture of a boundary that is like, no, other people's stuff can come in, if I invite it, or if that is the exchange that we're having, but not any other time. And I had to learn it bit by bit. So all the tools I'm going to teach you and share with you are tried and tested, and you can pick and choose the ones that work for you. But the idea is not that you're going to be completely clear and fixed in 4 days, but that you have like a load of tools in your bag that you can pull out for different occasions and different moments. And you'll recognize like, that at this point in time, I really should try and, try and catch a trigger before it happens, or try and regulate my breathing so that I can actually not have a panic attack or something, or learn how to deal with the voices of oppression, or the inner critic. And I mean, there's just so much, and I'm running out of time. But it's all about reining in what is controlling you and learning to use it as tools for to remain centered, to remain grounded, to be able to walk forward as a leader, a practitioner, a coach, a parent, be the example of the change you want to be in the world. And it does, there's a very fine line of being a perfectionist and always in control, and trying to control yourself and doing like being over the top with it, or like beating yourself up because you're not where you want to be and you should have been further. That's all like hard and kind of mean. So I called it the Be Humankind process, because it's about becoming centered and aligned and peaceful and calm and loving and a solid, reliable practitioner, parent, person. There's a kindness that needs to come, and it has to start within, like the love, all the things that you do that make you scared, or the things that happen that make you scared, or the things you do that are causing you harm or maybe stress, all come from not being loved in the way you wanted to be loved, not having the holding that you needed, not having the support that you needed, not being welcomed to the human process in the way that might have been more right. So you have to become that person that does that for yourself. And then you model it for others. Like that, every time I'm kind to myself, my daughter can be kinder to herself. Every time. And then another point being, as a practitioner, is that the more solid you are in your zero kind of centered point, you become an incredible mirror. I don't mean mirror theory, please don't conflate the two. I just mean that you will be able to see and feel, the clearer you are, you'll be able to see and feel where people are at and be able to help them a lot better. You'll be able to tell them, look, this is what I'm sensing, because you're clearer that you can actually sense someone else's stuff and not a big mess of your own stuff, and if you can become a neutral, centered, 0 point kind of practitioner, your ego isn't involved in being a great practitioner or like impressing them or making sure they have this epic transformation. It's more like you are there to hold space for them so they can love themselves more, and that they can take the right action and become more centered themselves, and then they can follow their own intuition and become a leader for themselves. So that's a whole other topic. I go off on so many tangents. I could talk for hours, but I've got like 2 minutes before my train. So let me just check what else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the reason why it's free is that it means a lot to me to be able to give generously. And there's so many people that say they can't afford my work and they can't afford my group programs, which are cheaper than my one-to-one stuff. So that I do as many of these free things as I can so that people can come forward. But that doesn't mean that I'm giving just a little bit. I'm actually doing a full-blown course, and I could easily charge for this. So I have asked for donations for people that value this kind of work and can, see the fairness or the balance in donating or making an exchange, and I'd appreciate that massively. But for all of those of you that feel like you can't do that, it's absolutely fine. Please just feel that love that I have for doing this work and that I want to make it available. And at the moment, I'm, just for the next month, I've kind of stepped out of doing all this mad magical stuff just because I really felt that we're all under pressure and we're all in this complex system, and there's a lot going on that we don't understand. The amount of polarity, the amount of infighting, the amount of fear, anger, and everything in a collective. We just need to be able to be centered and aligned and balanced and strong and reliable and grounded. So I wanted as many people as possible to be able to have that opportunity. So yeah, it's free. And then I'm welcoming donations, and what else is there? So you register to the Zoom link. I just keep it as simple as possible. It's basically a Zoom link registration. Monday, I'll send you an email because I'll have your email from Zoom. And I'll send you an email to the Facebook group where I will live stream the Zoom calls into the Facebook group so that their replays are there. Yeah, and I really look forward to, welcoming new people that have never met me before, or you've been seeing my work for years and you don't know what it's all about. This one is not only for leaders and practitioners. All my other stuff, I kind of want to work with practitioners that help others because it makes a lot of sense, from all my experience and work. So this one's for humans. It's for anyone. So please invite your friends. I look forward to welcoming you into that space. And I really am excited to go through the process of teaching you all these little tools so that you can walk around and send to yourself like again and again and again and again and again and again until that becomes like more your normal. It's powerful and it changed my life. So see you soon. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Bye.